Madam,
Yes.
diorang tengah nak masuk kelas but they're having trouble accessing the Teams.
Yeah, really?
Diorang tak boleh nak buka, so that's why they're a bit late, but I'll share the link to them.
Oh, okay, thank you. Susah ke? Is it not convenient using Team?
I think okay je madam, kalau dah setting it should be fine lah. Sebab selalunya memang kalau baru nak start it's a bit confusing.
Yes. Betul. Tak apa. Dia ada glitch sikit kan, tak apa.
Madam, diorang kata diorang still tak boleh masuk. Sebab I think dalam member yang Teams ni pun ada 19 orang je. Madam, mic madam off.
Dia guna email UiTM ke email luar?
Dia kata pakai student UiTM
Student
tapi tak
email.
boleh masuk.
Ya. Leceh lah. Okay. Pending, all clear. 04. Twenty-one. You all suka ke online ni? Dokumen?
Kurang.
Oh ya. Tapi you all yang minta. Adam? Adam Haris.
Ya, madam.
What do you think about this online learning?
Bagi saya okey je, tak susah.
Huh? You prefer to have this online?
Ya, saya lagi prefer kalau online.
Oh ya, kenapa tu?
Senang, tak payah siap pergi kelas.
Tapi saya ingat dah, saya tak ingat siapa punya quote tu. One of the prominent scholar, dia kata ilmu tu kita datang, kita mendatangi, bukan ilmu tu mendatang. You faham tak? Ilmu itu hendaklah didatangi, bukan ilmu itu yang mendatang. So, saya pun belajar online. Bila saya tahu quote tu kan, saya rasa yelah, sebenarnya kalau kita nak betul-betul dapat belajar kan, barakah tu sebenarnya kena berdepan lah sebenarnya. Kita datang kepada ilmu tu, bukannya ilmu tu datang kat kita. Macam kalau cikgu, kita pergi kat dia, bukan dia datang ke kita. Macam tu. Saya baru tahu benda tu. Kita kan suka kalau ada personal tutor datang rumah apa semua kan. Sebenarnya kalau ikut konsep kita nak berkat, kita nak latih diri kita untuk hormat guru, kita datang jumpa dia. Kita belajar lah kan benda-benda macam ni. Okay, sekarang ada 29 orang. Can we start? Boleh mula?
Boleh, madam.
Okay, insyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good afternoon. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. So we are here on the online or virtual meeting for the whole month of Holy Ramadan. So basically this is an opportunity I believe Allah give to us so that we can on the daytime, during the daytime, we can attend our classes, and after we break our fast, inshallah, we can perform our tarawih and our qiyam, as well as our qira'ah, al-Quran, inshallah. All right. Because during this holy month of Ramadan, before that, I would like to remind you to actually put your intention in learning for the sake of Allah. That one is very important. Because during this holy month of Ramadan, when you do the what we call as the compulsory actions, compulsory amal, so that amal will be multiplied for 70 times. And if we do the amal sunnah, sunat lah ya, orang Melayu panggil. So that will be equivalent like the fardu. All right. So take this opportunity. So we are learning here. Whatever that we learn today is not a fardu ain, but a fardu kifayah. This is very important. We need to study about this knowledge, because if there is no from our community, Muslim community, learn about international investment, the whole Muslim community will bear the sin. So that one is the effect of not or neglecting fardu kifayah. So we are here, we are in the fardu kifayah side, inshallah. All right. So normally before I start with the session, I will ask everybody to, start with your individual prayer. That is my common practice. Okay. Bismillah. Okay. Amin ya Rabbal Alamin. So this is IBM556. IBM556 is not my forte actually. But this semester I have to take this paper. Well, yeah, my background is finance. But it's not easy to actually get expose the financial management to the non-finance students. That is actually what I wish to deliver. It's not easy because some of the concepts are quite abstract. We do not have that in our daily life. We are not talking about selling and buying our groceries. We are not talking about Apple. We are not talking about buying iPhone. We are not talking about buying MacBook. We are not talking about buying baju hari raya. We are not talking about buying a gold. No, we are not talking about that. But we talk beyond that. We are talking about the intangible assets, right? Some of the assets are intangible. When we're talking about, for example, derivative market, when we're talking about futures and options as hedging strategies. So those are the applications that are not relevant to us, but we need to understand a little bit because we are here in this course, international business. When we're talking about business, right? What is business? What is business? Anybody? What is actually business? Adam?
Yes.
Adam, what is business? What is the definition of business?
Aktiviti jual dan beli.
Itu je? Is that all? Oh, yes, part of. Part of. Okay. Sekejap, saya ada call daripada office. Boleh saya jawab sekejap?
Boleh, madam.
Boleh, madam.
Okay, sorry ya. Okay. All right. InsyaAllah. Lukman Hakim, what is business? Lukman?
Sell product between seller and buyer.
Okay. Just more or less the same with Adam Haris just now. And Nur Alicia? What is business?
It's an activity of buying and selling that involves money and to make money.
All right. Okay. Okay. Muhairul? What is business?
For me, it's pretty much the same, buying and selling, but
Okay. But
it has more details in it, like trading something, and it will lead our economy to a better way or a bad, something like that.
okay, the impact. Yeah. Adeline, what is business?
Maybe provide goods and service to the community in exchange for money.
Okay. How does a company provide goods and services to the market? Mama Alif? Most of you agree. Business is about selling, buying goods, right? Providing goods. Mama Alif, how about you? What is business?
Still same. The activity of buying and selling goods and services.
Okay, all right. I think more or less you have the same set of answer. Okay, when we're talking about business, selling and buying is part of business activity. We cannot have that, activity, selling and buying, without having, for example, manufacturing the product. So when we are talking about business, you have to talk about business as a set of activities to create values, and that values will be delivered to the end user. It is not only about selling and buying activities, all right? When you are talking about value creation, so business will involve in terms of what we call as getting the raw materials, and then you add value, create value, or add value to that raw material by manufacturing, by producing it, by processing it, all right, or transform it into the end product, all right. When you have the end product ready, all right, so you can distribute the product to the end user. So that you are talking about selling and buying. That buying and selling activities can only be done after you get the raw materials, you add value to it, and then you transform it into the end product. Then only you can have the selling and buying activities, the distribution activities. We call that as distribution activities. And then you have to also do some marketing activities, because you cannot just distribute without market your products. And finally, when we talk about business, it is also about after sales service. So these are the activities related to business. We are talking about value creation. Business is the activities related to creating values to be delivered to the end users. All right. And to provide after sales service. When we have the products ready in the market, we sell the product to the consumers, so we have to provide the after sales service activity or customer service activity. So that is business, and all these primary activities must be supported by the secondary activities. Human resource activity, financial management is part of secondary value chain activities. We are talking about value creation just now, right? Value chain. That is known as value chain. You have supply, you have production, you have distribution, you have marketing, and finally you have to provide after sales service. All these primary value chain activities will be supported by the human resources. You have no human resources, no workforce, definitely you cannot have production, you cannot have distribution activities, you cannot have after sales service activities. And then you have to also come up with the financial management, infrastructure, and what else? The technology. These are all the supporting or secondary activities in the value chain or value creation activities. That is business. So you can actually, selling and buying is partly, yes, correct, part of business activities, but you have to broaden up your horizon and in defining what is actually business, because business is not only about selling and buying. It is also related to supply chain management, production management, financial management, human resource management, what else? Distribution management, marketing management, and after sales service. That is business. So that is why we have international business students, you need to understand, the elements related to value creation, including financial management. And now we are talking from the perspective of international financial management, but we focus more on international investment. And not, when we talk about investment and financing, these are all, two activities are related, but our focus is more to investment. But concurrently, when we talk about investment, all right, we will talk about the financial activities as well. All right, because in finance, we have two wings. The first one is where do we get the money? And the second one is how do we use the money? All right, so where do we get the money? That is related to, for example, loan. That is related to, for example, issuing bonds, issuing stocks, or you can issue short-term financial papers. That one is the shortage unit of companies when they want to finance their future projects, but they do not have sufficient money in their hand. What they can do is they can borrow money from international banks, and then they can issue bonds, we call it as financial papers, issue financial papers such as bonds, equities, and short-term financial papers. They can do that. And on the other side, on the other wings, we have these people, companies, wealthy individuals, that they have surplus money in their hands. So they have to think, they have to consider, they have to analyze where can they invest their money in order to generate more money. All right, whether they want to go for example, equity market or debt market or derivative market or real estate market. So they can make their decision. All right. So like us, if we apply to our individual, at our individual level, when we do not have sufficient money in hand and we want to buy a car, for example, what we will do, we will borrow money from the banking institution. So same goes to big companies, international companies. So if they want to finance the electric vehicle, future car, electric car, they want to finance the project in manufacturing electric car. They do not have money, so they can borrow money from the international banks. But because we are talking from the perspective of international companies, so they have wider opportunities and they have wider choices. Either to borrow money from banks, they can also borrow money, issue bonds, they can issue securities in terms of equity, and they can also issue short-term paper. So at the individual level, when we have excess money in our pocket, what we will do is we will invest the money in, for example, the Mudarabah account, for example, all right, or Al-Wadi'ah account, for example. the savings account. We will invest our money there, or we can buy what we call as unit trust, for example. We can buy ASB, or we can put our money in, for instance, we can also purchase shares from Maybank. You have options. When you have money, you have options on how to create more money by using your capital. All right. But remember, all this investment, you have to calculate in terms of the expected risk and expected return. All right. When we need to do our investment, it's very important to forecast what will be the expected risk and what will be the expected return. It is very important. Right? And as a Muslim, another attribute that we have to always check is in terms of the Sharia compliance. We have, for example, in KWSP, so you have two options. The first one is conventional based and the second one is the Sharia based. So if you have excess money in your hand, what you can do is you choose to have your Sharia based KWSP. So if you are the shortage unit and you want to purchase a house or you want to purchase a car, what you can do is to apply for a loan which is Sharia compliance loan. Right? So that is from our perspective as a Muslim. Saya tahu benda ni, saya dah tua. Benda-benda ni memang tak sensitif. Orang-orang dulu ni memang tak sensitif benda-benda macam ni. So you are lucky because now you can see all banks, international banks, you know, they provide this kind of facility, the Islamic loan, all right? So those who have the conventional loans, so you still have time in order to convert it from from conventional to Islamic. So basically for IBM556, we will discuss more in terms of international investment from the perspective of multinational corporations, right? When they have surplus money in their hand, what are the alternatives, all right, for them to to generate more money by using their capital. So all big companies, including government, not only multinational corporation, government, they also invest. All right, our government also invest in, for example, Petronas, for example. They also invest in Tenaga Nasional Berhad, for example. They invest, they make such investment. So that is common. All right, so this investment is not only related to wealthy individual or multinational corporation, but it is also applicable to the sovereign government. All right, government countries, they can also invest their money. So we will be focusing on this international investments. The word is international investment. As I mentioned, when we talk about investment, we concurrently talk about the elements of the financing element as well, right? Okay, we have this 4 hours. The credit hours is 4 hours and contact hour is also 4 hours. I'm Faiza Mashahadi. Inshallah, will be in charging this session up to week 15. Kalau panjang umur ya, kalau umur ni kita tak tahu. Alright. InsyaAllah panjang umur, kita jumpa sampai minggu yang ke-14 lah. Alright, okay. Course objective. So at the end of the course, you should be able to analyze the roles of financial institutions and capital market. All right. So we have financial institutions as well as financial markets. Capital markets, yeah, especially capital markets. So when we're talking about issuing bonds and equity, so that will be issued in the capital market. All right. We will look into this later on. And then information retrieval management in explaining the importance of international capital market. All right. So international capital market, as I mentioned, we are talking about bonds and equity. All right, bonds and equity. And last one is demonstrate good practices and professionalism in order to mitigate risk in international trade and investment activity. How to mitigate risk? Basically by forecasting. All right, we need to forecast what is the expected or anticipated return and what is the anticipated risk. So when we invest, when we are able to anticipate what is the future return and what is the future risk, we are basically able to actually mitigate risk. Remember, we cannot avoid risk. We have to take all the risks. All right, but what we can do is to mitigate or to minimize risk. So in investment, we have two types of risk. All right, a risk that we can diversify and the risk that we cannot diversify. There are risks that you can actually diversify, and there are risks that you have to absorb. All right, we'll cover that lesson. Yeah. Okay, and then can you see the lesson plan? Lupa saya nak tanya. Boleh nampak lesson plan?
Boleh, Madam.
Boleh ya, terang ya? Okay, so we have this lesson plan. Basically for this course, we have 6 chapters only. All right, we only have 6 chapters. Try to be as simple as possible, especially for the non-finance background students, yeah. But again, when we talk about finance, you cannot just take it as a simple subject. It's very technical. It's quite technical subject. Okay, right, so I will deliver the assignment question. Basically, we have 2 individual assignment and 1 group assignment. 2 individual and 1 group assignment. Chapter 1, we will cover this week, inshallah. All right, so we are going to cover international banking services, reason for international banking and types of international banking officers. And in week 2, we are going to still, in chapter 1, we are going to cover capital adequacy standards and international money market. Capital adequacy standard is just like a reserve, all right? Like our conventional bank, for example, Maybank, they will collect deposit from the surplus unit, all right? When we have money, we will put our money in the bank. So we just make that kind of illustration. So all the excess unit or surplus unit, they will put the money in hands. In the banks, all right? So for example, Maybank. So Maybank will use the deposit, all right? They will use the money that we deposit into our account in order to finance the shortage unit. All right, so that's how the banking institution works. That's how the economy works. All right, we have surplus unit, put the money in the bank, and the bank will, finance the shortage unit. So when you want to purchase a car, for example, you don't have sufficient money, so you will apply for hire purchase loan. So actually, you are using the depositors' money, the surplus unit money, in order to finance your car. All right, the money that we deposited in our bank won't stop in the bank's account. They will use the money in order to finance the deficit unit or the shortage unit. So in return, the shortage unit must pay some amount of, return in terms of interest, all right, to the bank. And then the bank will pay some return to the depositor. But normally the depositor will receive less return. Okay, very minimal return from the bank. Okay. So the condition to actually offer the surplus, the shortage unit with loan or financing facility, the bank must not provide 100% of the depositor's money as financial facility or as loan. For example, if the bank received 1,000 ringgit from the surplus unit, that 1,000 ringgit can be used to finance the deficit unit, but the bank cannot use 100%. All right, so 3% out of 1,000 must be kept as statutory reserve requirement. So that percentage will be determined by the bank, by the government, by the government, by the Bank Negara Malaysia. Bank Negara Malaysia will set what is the statutory reserve requirement, the amount of money that must be set aside by the bank before they can finance the deficit unit. So from the perspective of conventional bank, that is known as statutory reserve requirement. But from the perspective of international bank, it is known as capital adequacy standard. That is the difference. But this is actually a reserve. In the conventional institution, the reserve is in terms of monetary reserve because they receive deposit in terms of money, right? Monetary reserve, right? RM, US dollar, money. But in terms of international bank, capital adequacy standard or reserve is in terms of the financial papers. All right, not in terms of money, but in terms of financial papers. Because big institution, wealthy companies, big companies, multinational corporation, most often than not, their investment is in terms of papers. All right, they do have money, but most of the investment is in terms of papers. They purchase papers, they purchase bonds, they purchase equity, they purchase money market instruments. All right, instead of keeping the money in their saving accounts. But they do have, but when we're talking about investment, they prefer to have that kind of arrangement. And then we will discuss also about international money market. International money market is a platform where we can buy and sell a short-term money market instrument. Capital market is a platform where we can sell and buy long-term monetary instrument, debt and equity or stocks. That one is long-term instruments. So that is under capital market. But short-term instrument, for example, money market. All right, we're talking about money market, short-term instrument. For example, we have euro currency. That one is money market. All right. We have, for example, unit trust. All right. That one is in money market. It's traded in the money market. That one is not a long-term instrument. That one is a short-term instrument. We have, for example, promissory notes. That one is short-term money market instrument. Long-term money market instruments, we only have bonds and equity as the umbrella. All right, as an umbrella, we have bonds and equity. Okay. So that's the difference. Yeah, capital market, long-term, money market is a short-term instruments. So you have choice. When you have money, so you can put your money in the long-term instruments or you can put your money in the short-term instruments. All right. But we do not discuss about derivative here. We only discuss about bonds and equity. But in terms of financial products, it is not only limited on bonds and equity. We also have derivative market because when we are talking about hedging, hedging is a ways in order to mitigate risk. How can we actually mitigate risk, financial risk? So we need to hedge. For example, you get involved in transportation business. So transportation business, for example, you have a bus company. So the most important commodity for a bus company is the gasoline, the petrol. All right. So you need about, for example, 50,000 liters of petrol. All right. So you need that amount of petrol. So the price of petrol is actually ups and down. Whatever that we enjoy is subsidized. That's why it is static. But the real market price of petrol is fluctuating. So as the owner of the company or the CEO of the company, definitely you have to mitigate the risk of the rise of petrol price. So in order to do that, you have to hedge your activity, your petrol price, hedging. So to have that hedging activities, we need to enter into futures and options. So these futures and options are traded in the derivative market. Oh, jauh sangat. Tapi you need to know about that, all right? That hedging, because we have instruments. We will discuss in terms of how can we mitigate risk. To mitigate risk, other than to forecast what is our future return and profit. So alternatively, what we need to do is to hedge, right? It is not sufficient just to forecast. So when we forecast, okay, the price of petrol is going to increase today. So we need, so it's going to increase next month. So what we need to do is to stock up. We need to buy today. That is not enough. All right, that is not enough. From the perspective of a multinational corporation, all right, they will do dual activities. All right, they will lock the price. All right, and at the same time they will hedge the activities in the derivative market. All right, so that is actually hedging activities. As I mentioned, it is not just sufficient to see, oh, the price is going to go up, so we have to purchase now. So we have to hedge. So hedging activities is the way to mitigate risks, right? Okay, and then chapter 2, international banking and money market. So international banking and money market, we're talking about the short and medium term instruments, yeah? Short and medium term instruments. Sorry, this one is actually chapter 2. The topic is not this, yeah? This one is international bond market. Okay, sorry, nanti saya betulkan ya. Chapter 2 is about international bond market. That is not correct. Yeah, yang tadi tak betul, because banking and money market, we're talking about short-term instrument. Week 3, we will discuss on chapter 2. Chapter 2 is about international bond market. So international bond market, we're talking about foreign bond, we are talking about Euro bonds and global bonds. All right, and then we will continue week 4, international bond market. All right, we will discuss about the Euro bond and international bond money indexes. And chapter 3, we discuss about international equity market. So international bond and international equity market, these two instruments or these two markets are under capital market, international capital market, long-term instrument, right? Money market and banking institutions, they are selling short to medium-term instruments, right? Okay, week 5 is the submission of the individual assignment 1, week 5, right? Block your date, and then we will continue week 6, international equity market. So we'll discuss about this equity market. When you have Bursa Malaysia, for example, I'm sure you have that Bursa Malaysia. You can see a lot of companies listed on Bursa Malaysia. You can Google later. You go to Bursa Malaysia, and then you will see hundreds of companies listed on Bursa Malaysia. So the companies that are listed on Bursa Malaysia, they are all the shortage unit. They are all the sellers of equity. They are the sellers of stocks. They are the sellers of financial papers. Those who are selling the financial papers, they are known as the deficit or shortage unit. All right. So that one is about equity market. So when we're talking about international equity market, meaning to say the companies or wealthy individuals, they are allowed to purchase the securities, they purchase the papers listed on the foreign stock exchange. All right. For example, Proton, we are allowed to purchase shares listed on Singapore Stock Exchange. That's why we're talking about international. We are allowed to purchase any stocks that are listed on Nikkei, for example. And we are allowed to purchase any stocks listed on Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So international, that one is international market. This is actually the result of globalization. When we're talking about globalization, the liberalization of financial management, so all companies, all countries, all governments, they allowed for the companies to actually invest beyond the national boundaries. Prior to 1980s, this was actually, this activity can be done, but very hard because there are a lot of restrictions. There were a lot of restrictions at that time. But now, because of the development in the technology, you can actually wire the money from one location to another location within seconds. So that actually has promoted the activity of international equity as well as international bonds activities, right? And then we have chapter 4, international portfolio investment. So what is actually portfolio? Portfolio is a basket. Rational investors, rational multinational corporations, when they have, for example, 100 million of excess money in their account, they will not invest the money only in one particular counter or only in one particular commodity. They will diversify. For example, 10% to the commodity market, 10% to the derivative market, another 10% to the gold market, 20% to the equity market, 20% to the bond market. So they will diversify. So the composition of multiple types of investment held by a particular company is known as a portfolio. So this is how a company can actually mitigate risk as well, by diversification. All companies, all right, they cannot eliminate risk. That is a taboo to eliminate risk. But we can manage and minimize risk. No one can eliminate risk. No one can eliminate risk. Nobody. All right. Even in statistics, if you are conducting what we call as lab analysis, right? In scientific research, not statistic. In scientific research, if you are conducting a lab analysis in order to, produce the latest, for example, the latest medicine, so the success rate maximum is 99%, not 100%. All right. So the risk of failure is 1%. That is the highest. So as I mentioned, there's no way to eliminate risk. All right. There is no way in eliminate risk. In anything that we do, we have to bear the risk. But what important is to focus the risk and then to mitigate the risk. All right. Week 7, 8, we discussed about international portfolio investment. Week 9, international capital structure and the cost of capital. So capital structures, we're talking about how a company can raise capital, right? How a company can raise capital in order to finance their operation or in order to finance their value creation activities, not only about manufacturing activities, but about value creation activities. All right. So they have alternative. They can issue bonds and they can issue equity. All right. And what the company needs to calculate is what is the cost of what is the cost of issuing equities and what is the cost of issuing bonds. It must be calculated. As I mentioned, whenever we do, all right, whatever activities that we do, we have to anticipate what is the risk and what is the return. Same goes to the deficit unit. When they want to raise capital in order to finance their value creation activities or value chain activities, they have to calculate how much is the cost. All right. If the cost is higher than the expected rate of return, so they shouldn't consider for that alternative. But if the cost of capital is lower than the anticipated return, so they can consider to have that alternative in order to finance their value chain activities. That's how it works. Because just now I mentioned, in order to mitigate risk, you have to anticipate what is the future risk. All right, risk, what is the future rate of return? All right, so if you have the rate of return, when you can anticipate risk, basically you can calculate the rate of return. So when you have rate of return, you can compare with the expected return, expected cost. The expected cost is known as the cost of capital. So you need to compare return greater than cost, so you can consider that capital structure. But when the return is less than cost, you should reconsider, all right, the capital structure. All right, so that's why I mentioned just now, when we discuss about international investment, the topic is international investment, but we have to discuss from two perspectives: shortage unit as well as the surplus unit. Investment is the surplus unit. Shortage unit is the financial, the one that needs capital. That one is the shortage unit. They need capital at any time when they need capital. So they want, that one is the shortage unit. Without the shortage unit, the investment unable, the surplus unit unable to invest. So they are actually interrelated. The deficit unit is depending on the surplus unit in order to get the money, the capital, and the surplus unit is depending on the deficit unit in order to grow their money. Because deficit unit, when they issue bonds, for example, the deficit unit must pay the return, the interest of bond to the surplus unit. So surplus unit, they provide the money. In the end of the maturity period, the deficit unit must return back the capital plus with the return. If the return is 10%, so the deficit unit must pay capital plus 10% to the surplus unit. That's how the wealthy individual, wealthy companies keep on making money, because the one that really needs money, they keep on borrowing. And when they borrow, they have to pay some amount of return to the surplus unit. So surplus unit will enjoy in terms of the return. That is, all right, that is the cycle. Okay. Okay, so week 9, week 10, we will discuss about international capital structure. And then finally, we'll discuss about the international capital budgeting. All right. So we will look into the budgeting from the perspective of the parent company and from the perspective of the international company. All right. The inflows of money, the outflows of money, and what is the impact on the multinational corporation with that, with such a kind of budgeting activities, right? So basically, there are only 6 chapters. Okay, so don't forget, week 9 you have to submit your individual assignment too, and then week 13 you have to submit your group report. And week 14 is your revision week as well as final test. All right, so this is the recommended text. I think now they have the 10th editions. I will provide to Amira the purchase link, yeah, for this book. You can also purchase from your senior, no problem, if you want to purchase from the senior as well. But for the ebook, I think the cost is only about 54 ringgit, 54 or 58, right? That one is ebook. We do not have a physical book, we have ebooks, all right? So you can get my information here. This is my number, all right? You can send to me your personal message, yeah, no problem. Any question so far? Individual assignment is 20%. Each, you have 2 individual assignment, and group assignment is 30%, and final test is 30%. Altogether is 100%. There is no final exam for this course. Any question? So if you notice in the lesson plan, I have already put our activities. These are all the planning, yeah. And then notes, you can look at the last column. You can find the notes, right? So the dates related to holiday basically and the activity. So I hope it helps, right, in managing your time, because I know you have more than 20 credits, yeah, more than 20 credits. So you have maybe 6 courses to be covered for this semester. It's not easy. All right, so manage your time wisely, yeah. Especially for this paper, you have only 6 chapters, but yeah, for those who have not get any exposure to financial management, this course is quite tough. All right. Any question?
Madam, for group assignment berapa ramai?
Nanti saya berikan dia punya detail ya.
Okay.
Alright. Okay, kita akan pergi kepada soalan ya. Assignment question now.
Untuk
This is our
assignment, madam,
Ya.
kena hantar hard copy ke?
You future.
Okay.
Semua ada dekat sini. Semua ada di sini. Ya. Okay, individual assignment 1, self-reflective paper. Right. What do we mean by self-reflective paper? Basically, this paper requires you to write your personal opinion pertaining to a particular subject. That is self-reflective paper. So what you need to do is you have to find one article related to international investment or international finance. So you can talk from the perspective of the deficit unit, which is international finance. And you can also talk from the perspective of international investment, which is from the perspective of the surplus unit. Right? So choose one article and you are required to prepare a self-reflection paper based on the article that you have chosen. All right. So you may choose any article from the internet. You can also choose any article from magazines, newspapers, no problem. So the report must have the elements as listed below. You have to put the cover page. Executive summary is the abstract. Yeah. When I read the abstract, so I know the content of your report. That one is the executive summary. Table of content acknowledgement is not compulsory. You can have that acknowledgement. So the fifth step, you have to analyze the case. What you need to do, you have to summarize the article, right? By using your own words, right? Summarize the article and discuss the main concerns stated in the article. So if it is related to international investment, maybe from the perspective of money market, or maybe it is from the perspective of unit trust, international mutual funds, for example. So that one must be related to international, because this one is international investment. So all articles must be related to international. You can talk about euro currency market. You can talk about euro credit. You can talk about sukuk in international market. Sukuk is Islamic bond. All right, you can talk about that as well. And discuss the main concern in the article, in the case. And then comments or opinion. So this is the reflective part, which you need to put your personal opinion, right? So these are the guides. So your comments, your comment can be related to theories and concepts, but you can also go wild. You're talking about your values, towards that particular subject. What do you believe? What do you understand? What is your perspective pertaining to that particular subject? All right. So maybe previously, for example, you're talking about mutual funds. All this while, you only think this mutual fund is related to domestic activities. But it is actually related to international activities. All right. We're talking about offshore financial centers. All right. You previously do not know about offshore financial centers. Maybe previously you only noticed, that Labuan is one of the financial centers, but you are not aware that Labuan, when you read the article, then only you know Labuan can actually accept deposit in multiple currencies. They can also offer loans in multiple currencies other than RM. All right. So that is your reflective, right? So before you read about the article, what is your perspective? And after you read about the article, you gain something. All right. So that is a reflective paper. And then conclusion as well as a reference. So this is the format. You can refer item number 9. Yeah. Submission week 9. Everything is here. You can read report. The writing format is report. Maximum word is 2,000 words. What is the format in terms of the font? Everything is there. The save, the file name, the save file name, right? Student name and keyword. What is the keyword? If you talk about offshore, so offshore. If you talk about mutual funds, international mutual funds, so you write the international mutual funds. Submission, you future. Okay, penalty of late submission or submit to the improper platform. The platform is your future, you submit to other platform. Deduction of 10 marks, right? That will be applied. Okay, next one. Individual assignment 2, case study. Are we okay? Self-reflective paper. Are we okay about self-reflective paper?
Okay, madam.
All right. Okay, next one is individual assignment 2, case study report. Okay, for this case study, you have to refer to this article. All right. This article is related to green bonds. Pernah dengar tak green bonds?
No.
Nur Nazura, what is green bonds?
Sorry, madam. Green.
Green bonds. Bukan James Bond, James Bond lain.
It's a type of bond.
Ha. Types of bonds, yes. Related to what? What industry? Green bonds.
Environmental ke madam?
Yes. All right. Sustainability. Yeah, sustainability. This is actually a type of facilities, financing facilities given to the companies, multinational companies that are very serious in sustaining the environment. All right, it is known as green bonds. So it involves international institutions across the board. Any companies that wish to sustain the environment, if they do not have sufficient money in order to finance that project, so they can actually apply for green bonds. All right, they can issue green bonds, okay, in order to get the money in financing their activities. So that is known as green bonds. Previously, people are talking about sukuk Islamic bonds, but now people are so much serious about green bonds because we are now we're talking about the carbon footprint. We are talking about water footprint. So we are actually on the daily basis, we keep on creating a harmful effect to the environment. We keep on producing goods, we keep on shopping, we keep on traveling from one location to another location. So we are producing carbon footprints. And there are companies that are very serious in reducing the carbon footprints, but they do not have money in order to finance their activities, because when you're talking about sustainability, it requires innovation. Innovation requires money. So in order to get the money, so they create this instrument, all right, green bonds. So green bond is the facility, financing facilities given to all companies across the globe who wish to sustain the environment. All right, that is a green bond. So that is your assignment. So you have to really read about green bonds. Okay. In the first assignment, you are free to choose any topic, because that one is self-reflective paper. So I believe you have your interest, you have your propensity, you have your tendency. But the second one is case study. So this one I simplified, which I provide an article. So that article is related to green bonds. So again, you have to follow all this format. And up to level 5, yeah, you can see step number 5, summary. You need to summarize the article. All right, you give the summary of the article and identify the important contents or important facts. Analyze the case. Step number 6, you need to discuss the main problems or objectives stated in the case. All right, basically I already mentioned about the objective. All right, I mentioned the objective. I mentioned the main problem as well just now when I discussed about the green bond. All right, so basically you have that. The only thing that you have to do is to definitely you have to quote. You have to find in-text citation. All right, jangan text buat nama saya. Ada pelajar ada text buat nama saya. Saya punya lecture note dia text pula. Dia buat in-text citation. Tak boleh lah. You go to journal articles or magazines, all right, in order to, put the in-text citation, okay? And then explain the solutions or action taken to solve the problem. So basically, the green bond, that's how we actually solve the problems, all right? And then examine the impacts resulting from the solution. So you can find the idea from the article, all right? But at the same time, you have to support with the supporting evidence. Meaning to say, you have to still do your internet search, right? You need to support your point that you get from the case study with the external or additional or supporting evidences. Okay, you cannot just only depend on the case study, but you have to depend on other sources in order to strengthen your points. All right. Okay, and examine the impact resulting from the solution. Sama lah ni ya. What is the impact to the environment? Okay, basically if you can find the impact, but it is not extensive. So you have to do internet search. What is the impact? Extension of whatever that you find in the text, in the case study. So you can actually provide with the supporting evidences. Okay. And then you have to comment or give your opinion. This one is point number 7 actually. All right. So you need to give your comments or opinions on the topics of the article. All right. So you just follow, this the heading. You just follow the heading. Okay. And then you have to state the lesson that you obtained from the article. What are the lessons that you learned from the article? And then conclusion and reference. So you can see these are all the format. Okay. Boleh tengok di situ. Semua format ada ya. And then group assignment, no presentation for this course. There's no presentation. You just need to submit your report. All right. Each group is required to write a report on international portfolio investment. All right. So you need to study about international portfolio investment. So you need to do internet search. All right. For this assignment. The international portfolio investment. As I mentioned, a portfolio is a basket that contains of multiple type of investment instruments. Okay, so you have, that is your assignment, group assignment. So these are the format, right? Number 5, introduction, explain background of the topic or issue. For this group assignment, it is more or less the same like a reflective paper, which you have to find, all right? You have to search for the information. If the reflective paper, in the reflective paper, you are focusing on any topic, all right, pertaining to international investment or international finance. But for group assignment, our focus is on international portfolio investment. Maximum is 6 members. A minimum is 5. Okay. Cover page. Alright, apa lagi? Analysis of the topics, basically sama lah dia punya format. It's just the content. What is the main problems? What is the main impact? Important facts, right? You have to read about the portfolio investment. Okay, you have to do literature search in terms of portfolio investment. Alright, and then conclusion and preferences. Submission, you see here, week 13. Alright, so all the guides are there. Okay, I know it's quite technical because some of you maybe have just heard about international portfolio today, right? Some of you maybe have just heard about euro bond, euro currency, bond market, money market today. But this is our journey. We have to, right? We have just to follow the journey. Okay. Okay, any questions so far? Ada soalan, Alif? Tak ada? Alright. Alright, so this is our chapter, international banking and money market, right? International banking and money market. Okay, so we're going to cover these components, international banking services, reason for international banking, types of international banking officers, capital adequacy standards, and international money market. All right. We normally put money market together with international banking products. All right, banking products, money markets, we put together, but we do not jumble up money market, international bank with capital market, because capital market is a different kind of platform altogether. It targets different set of investors altogether. It target different. It is used by different deficit unit. All right, it's compared to this money market and international banking. So this market, they provide short-term and medium-term instruments, short-term and medium-term instruments. All right. So this is actually when we're talking about the flow of money in the economy. Basically, this is actually the flow of money in our economy. The financial, when we're talking about the finance institution, it can be divided into two. We have financial institutions and we have financial markets. As I mentioned, financial institutions offer short to medium term instruments. All right. Financial markets, they offer long-term instruments such as capital markets and money markets. All right. So in all sovereign countries, in all countries, established countries, independent countries, they normally will create the banking institution. That is very important. All right. They will create capital market, financial market later on. But most of the countries, they will establish their banking institution first. Because they know in the economy there are surplus units. And they know in the economy there are deficit unit. If the surplus unit only, if there is no banking institution, surplus unit will keep their money in their hands. All right. So the economic activity will only occur when the surplus unit do some buying and selling activities. Buying activities, buying activities. The surplus unit, they will buy. So you can see the impact on the economy, the GDP in the economy, for example, that will increase the GDP in the economy. That is when there is no banking institution. Only the surplus unit can purchase goods offered by the manufacturers or seller. But when we have banking institutions, the surplus unit, they will keep their money in the banking institutions. So the banks will create money from the deposits because the banking institution, they are business, they are doing their business. They are having their businesses. They're conducting their businesses. And they're using the surplus units money in order to create profit for the company, for the banks. So to create profit for the banks, definitely the bank must use the money in order to finance the deficit unit. So when the bank finance the deficit unit will use the money to purchase goods and services or commodity. All right, goods or services. They can purchase gold, they can purchase cars, for example. Initially, when there is no banking institution, they're unable to do that because there is no financing facilities. But when the country established banking institutions, so you can see both parties, surplus unit, they can contribute to the economy by purchasing the goods and services, and the deficit unit, they can use the money offered, the credit, right, given by the banking institutions in order to purchase their goods and services. So you can see the positive impact of having a bank. All right. Basically, you can have these two parties, deficit and surplus unit, using actively involved in the economic activities, selling activities. All right, buying and selling activities. So that's why country, they will establish the financial institutions in terms of banks. That is the basic, all right, banking institution. So they will provide short-term to medium-term loan. So you have, for example, car loan. That one is sometimes it's up to 10 years, right? So that one is medium-term. Okay. Basically, the ideal, if you have cash to purchase the car, you purchase a car by using cash, right? It's very expensive in terms of the interest. Kalau ada duit cash, beli cash. Tapi mana kita ada duit cash kan? We use, we have to apply for the high purchase. So we are the deficit unit. Because of that banking institution, we are able to purchase a car. So because of that financial institution, deficit unit purchase a car. And because of that, Proton, Honda, they can access to greater number of customers. Previously, without banking institutions, they only target the surplus unit, individual with excess money in hand, surplus money in hand. But now, no, they can cover to all, even students, Some of the students, they are using their PTPTN money in order to purchase the car. All right, so you are the deficit unit. You have your loan, study loan, all right, and then you use the study loan to purchase a car. I do not know whether that one is ethical or not, but the study loan should be used in order to finance your, you know, learning activities, right? But I know there are students that purchase a car by using the study loan, all right? So I do not know, okay? All right, so that is the financial institution. So financial institution consists of banks, insurance company, as well as mutual funds. All right, these are all financial institutions. Okay, and then we have financial markets. We have capital and money market. All right, capital market and money market. Okay, money market is some of this money market, they go for normally it's a medium term, but because money market involving papers, so they put under financial markets. All right, they have papers, they will issue papers. The proof of ownership is in terms of papers. You own certain stock, and the proof or evidence is the paper. All right, you own certain bonds, the ownership is the paper. You own certain money market instruments, promissory notes, for example, the evidence is the paper. All right. So that is under financial market. All right. So we have these two units, yeah, surplus of funds and the deficit unit, the demanders of funds. All right, suppliers and the deficit unit. Okay. So that's how it actually, the money is actually flowing in our economy. So we are talking from the perspective of this one here, the surplus unit. But at the same time, I mentioned just now, we cannot actually separate ourselves from discussing about the shortage unit. We have to talk about surplus and the shortage unit because that is the composition of the fund flow mechanism, right? What is international bank and what are the services offered by international banks? Definitely, when we're talking about international banks, we're talking about the banking activities that serve, beyond its mother countries, that serve customers beyond its mother countries. If we have a bank that is only concentrated in the home country, that is not an international bank. We have in Malaysia, for example, Al-Rajhi. All right, Al-Rajhi based in the Middle East and expand its business to our country. So that one is international banks. We have, for example, Citibank. That one is international bank. HSBC, that one is international bank. Maybank is a domestic bank from our perspective, but when Maybank has its operation in the Philippines, for example, that one is international banks. All right, so we do have our banks in Maybank in other countries as well. All right, so what are their activities? They accept deposit, they provide loans, as I mentioned. Banks, by nature, their activities is to accept deposit and provide loans, whether they are domestic oriented bank or internationally oriented bank, they will accept deposit and they will provide loan. And they also arrange for trade financing facilities. You have learned this, I believe. You will learn this in International Trade Framework, if I'm not mistaken. That is the paper. All right. It will facilitate international trade transaction, letter of credit. Importer and exporter, when they get involved in international buying and selling activities, they need to get a bank as a guarantor. All right. So this bank will serve as a guarantor. The exporter bank will serve as a guarantor for the exporter, right? That the for the importer, exporter bank will give a guarantee to the importer that the goods will be shipped to the importer. All right. And the importer's bank will provide a guarantee to the exporter that the importer will pay to the exporter. So again, we need an international bank. We cannot just have an arrangement between a company from Malaysia and a company in China. to have this international trade, to have the exchange of goods. We cannot have that. All right. We have to hire the bank, international bank, to serve as a guarantor. All right. If you dare to have such activities, you buy goods from China without a bank. All right. If you dare to bear the risks, okay, please do that. But people won't do that. Companies won't do that. You need to hire a bank, right? The what we call as the mediating party in order to facilitate for the transaction. Just imagine, for instance, you have Khairul Amin. He actually obtained most of its inbound logistic, in terms of raw materials from other countries, from India, from China. Just imagine if the trade is just only between Khairul Amin and the seller in India or in China. So the sellers in India and China can at any time breach the contract. So that's why we need the international bank, all right, as a guarantor that the buyer will receive the product, the seller will receive the money. So that is the role of the international bank. Is it for free? No, definitely no. You have to pay, all right? International transaction, international selling and buying activities. We're talking about fees. You're talking about a service charge by the banks. This is how banks make money. They make money from your deposit, and then when you need them to serve as guarantor, all right, so you have to pay them, right? So that is the thing. And then arrange a forex transaction. Yeah, you're talking about the exchange rate, right? RM and rupiah, RM and yuan, for example, RM and yen, for example. We are traders. We are the manufacturers. We are the buyers or the sellers. We don't have time to keep on monitoring, what is the exchange rate today, how to hedge the exchange rate, how to minimize the risk. We don't have time to do that. So we normally will hire our bank in order to do the transaction for us. So they will minimize the risk, they will mitigate the risk. But what you can do, what you need to do is you have to pay. They will facilitate the forex exchange. You don't have to use, calculator to calculate, how much is the average cost. See, for example, you are getting you have the few shipment from China, you have shipments. The first shipment in the first week of March, second shipment, second week, third shipment, fourth week of March, for example. And then fifth shipment, you have in the third week of April. So you have to deal with multiple, currency, foreign exchange. So you don't have to monitor. And we don't have the experts to monitor. So that's why we need to hire the international bank. So again, you have to pay. They will charge you. All right. This one here is to offer hedging services. So this hedging services is actually in the derivative market. We have, for example, option and forward contracts. And we also have futures contracts for these hedging activities, all right? Option and forward, as well as futures contracts for the hedging activities, okay? And they provide investment banking services. They act as consultant, they act as underwriter, and also they handle the investment. The investment here is in terms of when we have foreign direct investment in terms of M&A, merger and acquisition. Merger is not that serious, but acquisition. When we have the arrangement of what we call as FDI, yeah, in investment we have two types of investment. Yeah, we have foreign direct investment, and the second one is foreign indirect investment. Okay, foreign direct investment, when we have our facility, physical facility, we establish our physical facility in the foreign country. That one is known as foreign direct investment. Okay, we start from scratch, we start from zero. Alternatively, this is another component of FDI. A company can purchase the existing business, existing value chain activities in the foreign country. This is a part of a form of FDI as well, but it is not started from zero. The first one, you start from scratch. That is known as greenfield investment. The second alternative of FDI is known as brownfield investment, which you purchase the existing business activities. All right, you purchase in terms of the operation, you purchase in terms of after sales service, you purchase in terms of the distribution platform. You purchase the existing business activities. That is known as brownfield investment. So the party that will determine how much is the price of acquisition is the bank, the international bank. All right, it's not the companies, it's still the bank, because you have to remember sellers and buyers. Sellers will set high price, buyers will set low price. They will offer low price. Seller will offer high price. So if they keep on arguing in terms of the price, there will be no agreement that will be achieved. So that's why they need to hire an investment bank. So investment bank will evaluate, will make assessment how much is the price of the facility or the business to be sold. They will set the price for both sellers and buyers. So again, they will gain money from that activity. All right. So normally we talk about merger and acquisition. Yeah, acquisition part. When you talk about the acquisition, so they will determine how much is the acquired price. All right. They want this bank is the one that determine the price, and then the bank will also play a role as underwriter. Underwriter. Okay, when we talk about, just now we talk about the one that need money, the deficit unit. Deficit unit is the one that needs money. They requires money in order to finance their business activities. Basically, when we talk about deficit money, they requires that money. The purpose is for business expansion. Dia bukan nak beli dia punya private property, ya. For business expansion. All right. So if this deficit unit wish to issue bonds, for example, all right, again, the deficit unit must hire an investment banker. They get the investment, the deficit unit, they just cannot, let's say the amount of the money needed is 1 million ringgit Malaysia or 100 million ringgit Malaysia. So that's huge of money, right? So the deficit unit cannot just simply issue the paper and sell on the social media, sell it on the whatever platform, TikTok or Twitter, whatever. No, they cannot do that. They have to hire the investment banker. So the investment banker, they will determine, in terms of the selling price, what we call as the face value. What is the value of the paper? All right. If you're talking about bond, so how much is the return to be paid to the seller? So that one will be determined by the investment banker. So the one that requires the money, that needs the money, is the deficit unit. But the one who facilitate the issuance of the financial paper is the investment banker. And again, the investment banker will charge the deficit unit. That's how they make money. All right. And remember, if the deficit unit refuses to hire the investment banking or investment banker, they are unable to issue 100 million of papers, unless if the the deficit unit, they target specific individual or specific companies to purchase that 100 million ringgit of paper. That can be done because that one is business to business. Maybe they are related. All right. The husband's company purchased the wife company's bonds, for example. That can be done. right? But if you're talking about general investors, you open the investment to the international market, you have to put the investment banker as the underwriter, right? Or else you have to target specific companies. But it is not easy to target the specific companies, all right? Tak senang, ya? If you apply on your at your individual level, for example, your friends need money. So your friend, he or she has alternative. Number one is to borrow from you because he or she knows that you have money. And number two, that person has to borrow from the financial institutions, from the bank. All right. If that person borrow from the bank, that person has to sign for the agreement. If that person failed to pay, so the personal belonging, the personal property will be seized by the bank, for example. So there is an agreement. But if that person borrow from you, right, the tendency for not complying to whatever agreement is very high, because normally we do not take our legal action, but bank, they will take legal action. So that's why we need a bank, all right, to play a role in, in bridging between the deficit unit and the surplus unit. In fact, if you're talking about debt, boleh tak kita beri hutang kepada orang? Yes, can, no problem. But both parties, you have to comply. All right, you have to bring in the witnesses. All right, two witnesses. All right, the borrower and the funder, plus with two witnesses. So write agreement. So if you're unable to pay, so what will be the action? But normally we do not do that, because when you're talking about personal financing, we just based on trust. So from the Islamic perspective, if you read the longest ayah in our Al-Quran is about debt. All right, you can find in Surah Al-Baqarah, if I'm not mistaken. Al-Baqarah, yes, the longest ayah. All right, but because we cannot trust people, so that's why people cannot be trusted. We try to trust people, but people cannot be trusted. Nowadays, for example, you give a loan to an individual, your friend or relative. In the end of the day, you are the one will act like a beggar, You are the beggar, you need the money, you will ask, when are you going to return my money? All right, it's different, it's totally different. So that's why we want to trust people, but people cannot be trusted. So take the lesson. So that's why for international business, bank is very important. They will hire a bank, they will appoint a bank, all right, as intermediary. So these are the world's 30 largest bank. You look at the first three banks: ICBC, China Construction Bank, and Bank of China, followed by Mitsubishi, Japan, from Asian, from Asian. So when we're talking about this, one of the ways for companies and government, when they need money in order to finance their operation, in order to finance the development infrastructure, they can issue bonds. Government can issue bonds, but government cannot issue equity. Remember that. Governments can issue bonds, but government cannot issue equity. Multinational companies, small and medium enterprises, not small and medium enterprises, medium enterprises, as well as multinational corporations, they can issue shares. They can issue equity. They can issue bonds, right? But government can only issue bonds. Why? Because when we issue equity, meaning to say we allow for the company to, we allow for the buyer, we allow for the investor to own some percentage of ownership. So just imagine if a country is selling an equity. So meaning to say the government is selling the country. All right. So that is why government will issue bonds. And the United States of America, one of the wealthiest country in the world, also issue bonds in order to finance the infrastructure and development. And the major providers of this bond to the government of America is China. China is the major provider of bond. Meaning to say, US is the shortage unit, and China is the surplus unit. So that's why you can see 30 largest bank, right, from China, because they also finance the American government and American companies as well. China is very aggressive in making international portfolio investment. China. Previously, you can see China opened up its boundary for FDI. They welcome foreign companies to have their operation in their countries. That's how they're making money. That's how their companies are making money. And the government also promote their companies to sell their products all around the world. So one of the platform is through this online platform. And then you have Chinatown. Traditionally, before we have this online platform, they have the Chinatown. All right. So they are selling their product. They produce their product in the mother country, and then they sell the product they sell the product in multiple countries. You check which countries you cannot find the Chinatown. I think Middle East, maybe you cannot find Chinatown. But in the Asian countries, in fact, in Asia, you have more than one Chinatown, right? And you go to Australia, for example, you have Chinatown in Australia. You go to US, you have Chinatown in there. In many countries, we have Chinatown, and they are selling made in China product. All right. So in the first phase, they are creating money, in the company, in the country. When now they have a lot of money in the country. The companies, when you check the number of billionaires in China. You check the number of millionaires in China. All right. You can't believe it. So they have thousands of, all right. They're creating a lot of profit from these activities. And now they have money in their pocket. The next activity is portfolio investment. The current phase, the Chinese government encourage all the companies to buy portfolio, to buy shares of the foreign companies in the foreign countries. Just imagine, they have a lot of money. So, but you can see the steps, they create money. First, they create money by inviting FDIs into the countries, and then they also sell their products abroad, all right? When they have sufficient money, now their activities to conquer the world is by investing in foreign indirect investment. Remember, when you're talking about investment, we have two: foreign direct investment and foreign indirect investment. Foreign indirect investment is when a company purchase portfolio. Petronas purchase portfolio in Asia. That one is indirect investment. So that is the activities conducted by Chinese companies nowadays and encouraged by the government. You see, they actually go in bulk. They go together. All right, in realizing the government's goal. That's the beauty of this, this country. All right. Initially, this country, you have to remember, a communist country. All right. So communist country, their interest, they put greater interest on the community as compared to individual. Communist country. All right. So the government will come up with a policy, and all companies, they have to comply to that policy. That's the beauty of it. All right. I'm not saying that communism is good. Yeah? I'm not saying that communism is good, but yeah, you can see the pro and cons in democracy. You can see the pro and cons in communism as well. All right. You can also find the pros and cons in the autocratic government. All right. I'm saying about that. I'm not saying that communism is good. Jadi yang cakap saya penyokong chimpan. Tak ada All right. No way. Okay. Reasons for international banking, the lesson number 2, reasons for international banking. All right, international banking reasons. The first one is low marginal cost. All right, why is it low marginal cost? Because you just duplicate whatever that you have established in the home country abroad. Maybank Malaysia, duplicate, all right, the operation in the Philippines, duplicate the operation in the Singapore, for example, duplicate the operation in Australia, for example. So it is actually about copying, imitating. All right, whatever you have here, you establish in the foreign country. So the marginal cost is low. And then knowledge advantage, they have experience. Maybank in Malaysia, we have offshore financial center in Labuan. Maybank has its subsidiary in Labuan. So definitely this company has experience in dealing with multiple currency. They know how to hedge the risk, you know. They know how to, the system in accepting deposit in multiple countries. So they have the knowledge in terms of that. They have experience in, for example, underwriting bonds. They have experience in underwriting equities for the deficit unit. So the experience, the knowledge, the skills can be just used, imitated, and copied in the foreign countries. So that's why they go for international banking, all right? Prestige, large multinational banks with reputable identity. Large multinational banks. So we're talking about, if you compare Maybank with Bank Simpanan Nasional, definitely you will put higher credit on Maybank because of its international exposure. So that's why our university keep on, you know, pushing us to go international, because of this prestige, you know, reputation. We want to build this reputation. We want to build this prestige. But whatever it is, I never go against the idea to be prestigious. But the most important thing is definitely to provide the best education, learning experience to our students, because that is the main objective of having the university. All right. We can get involved in international activities, but we cannot neglect the teaching and learning activities. That is very important. Right. We have to get that, what we call as ambidexterity, the balance between these two. It is not easy to get the balance, because most of the time we are more into short-term orientation culture. We want rapid result, fast result, right? The most prominent, if we compare between providing quality education and to go international, you can see in terms of rapid result is to be internationalized. Because when you are recognized internationally, so that will add more value on us. But if we just focus on the talent development, you're talking about talent development, we're not talking over semester. We have to talk about the talent to be developed over the years. All right. When you enroll in first semester, in the second semester, we cannot see the talent, right? But in the third semester, we start to see the talent in you. We have to do that. All right. We need to do that because we need to develop our nation. So to develop our nation, we need good leaders. And you are the future leaders. I always treat my students as future leaders. So do not just neglect this opportunity. You are our hope. You are my hope. All right, inshallah. So we need good leaders. We need talented leaders. We really need talented leaders. Right? Pukul berapa ni? Bebel. 5:50 kita berhenti Right? 10 minit sebelum pukul 6 kita berhenti. Kita nak solat semua kan? And then regulatory advantage. International bank, they are not subject to the same regulation as domestic bank. For example, we have offshore financial center. We have Labuan, we have Singapore, we have Virgin Island Financial Center. All these financial centers, they are not subject to the home country's banking regulation. That means they do not have to comply to capital adequacy standard. Other than that, if you have RIG in Kuala Lumpur, that company must comply to capital adequacy standard. But RIG in Labuan, they do not have to comply to capital adequacy standard. They enjoy, some degree of liberalization. All right, I think they enjoy. They are liberal. All right, in terms of their financial freedom, they're quite liberal. All right, in terms of financial freedom. Okay. The growth, definitely you're talking about how to sustain the business by expanding the business overseas. Risk reduction, remember diversification. You have your business only in one country. If that country collapses, the whole business will collapse. But if you have the countries scattered all around the world, one of the region collapse, you have other regions to cover. All right, this is how we mitigate risk. We are talking about hedging again. All right, and then wholesale defensive strategy. International banks, normally they will follow their multinational companies customer. Normally, if they find there are a lot of, if the bank find there are a lot of Arabs in Malaysia, all right, Arab companies in Malaysia, so they will open up their facilities in Malaysia. Or China, if they find there are a lot of China corporation in Malaysia, so the bank of China will open up their subsidiary in Malaysia. All right, that one is defensive strategy, wholesale. The word is wholesale because they follow multinational corporations. All right, wholesale defensive strategy. One more is retail defensive strategy. All right, what is retail defensive strategy? This is when they find out, for example, in one particular location, in Malaysia, for example, there are a lot of Arab students in Malaysia. There are a lot of Arab tourists in Malaysia. So this is an opportunity. So they can actually exploit on this opportunity and open up their banking institution in Malaysia. All right. So remember the difference between wholesale and retail. Wholesale, they cover, the target is big companies. Retail is individual students, for example, or tourists, for example. Okay. So you have to remember in Malaysia, we have a lot of Arabs. They are from Syria. They are from most of them from Syria. From Syria. Most of them are from Syria. Some are from very minimal from Palestine. All right. So these people, they become entrepreneurs. All right. They sell their products in Malaysia. They import their products and then they sell in Malaysia and they do marketing through online platform. So they're selling kurma, for example. They're selling perfume, for example. Apa lagi dijual? The most popular, apa lagi yang diorang jual? Alright, so when they see significant numbers of entrepreneurs, Arab entrepreneurs, so this is an opportunity for the Arab banks, Middle East banks to open up their operation in Malaysia. So that one is a retail defensive strategy. Ada lagi satu produk Arab ni. Ni. Kalau you pernah nampak ni, apa orang panggil, I pun tak tahu. Tapi you have to get the charcoal burn and then put the, I do not know what is the name of that stuff you put on the charcoal, the burnt charcoal, and then you can, smell a good smell of it. All right. So this is from that country, So orang dia datang sini buat business, dia import the product and resell in our country. All right. Orang Malaysia pergi ke negara luar, dia jual apa? Kan? Dia datang sini jual kismis, dia datang sini jual kacang apa semua tu kan? So they are actually making, they are having a business. So this is actually known as immigrant entrepreneurship in Malaysia. And I believe you also aware about Aceh. They open up a lot of small grocery shops. Keep on growing now. So in the future, you don't get surprised if you have Indonesian bank in Malaysia because of the significant numbers of Indonesian grocers, right? So they follow these grocers to Malaysia. That one is retail defensive strategy. Okay, that is the end of our session today. Yang ini kita akan sambung kemudian. Types of international banking offices. Okay, any question? Ada soalan tak? Kita dah cover two lesson. Any question? Oh, tak ada kan? Tak ada soalan. Next time saya akan sediakan soalan ya. Kita kena jawab sama-sama. Okay, so if there is no question, so you can contact me during my personal, you can PM me ya. I don't prefer to have a group. Group yang ada pun saya tak sempat nak baca. I'm so sorry if I take longer time in order to respond to you, but I will try to respond. Lambat sikit lah. Alright. Okay, so that's all for today. So let us end our session with Tasbih Kifara and Suratul As. Subhanakallahumma. All right. Thank you very much for your participation and for your attention. May Allah reward you with Jannah, insyaAllah. Selamat berbuka. And again, Ramadan Kareem. Rabbana taqabbal minna, insyaAllah. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
All right. Take care. Bye.